All right, so once again, let's think about it for one moment. So let's take our 3/10 times 0, that equals 0. And then we have 3/10 times 1, that equals 3/10. Anything times itself equals itself. Or I mean, anything times 1 equals itself. Okay, so that means that 3/10 times, oops, let me just make that the 0. 4/10 should equal something between 0 and 0 and 3/10. So let's check it out. 4/10 times 3/10. All right, so 4/10 times 3/10. Basically, what we're saying is 4/10. Let me see if my pen works. 4/10 of 3/10. Cool. 4/10 of 3/10. And what that really means is we take 4/10 out of each one of those tenths. 4/10 of 1/10, 4/10 of 2/10, 4/10 of 3/10. All right. So 4/10 of 3/10. If we counted all those up right over there, we have 4, 8, 12 hundredths. Right? The decimal point. 12 hundredths. Now, if we did the algorithm, 4/10 times 3/10. Remember, when we set it up, just ignore the decimal point until the end. So if we ignore the decimal point, it basically looks just like, oops, oops. If we ignore the decimal point, oops, once again, if we ignore the decimal points, what you might realize, let's try this now. There we go. If we ignore the decimal points, it just looks like a fact from a Mad Minute, right? So 4 times 3 would equal 12. Now, if those decimal points come back after we've ignored them, we realize there's 2 decimal places in our entire problem. So there will be 2 decimal places in our entire solution. It's the same thing as our original when we had 4/10 of 3/10. So we took 4/10 from 1/10, 4/10 from 2/10, and 4/10 from 3/10. 4/10 of 3/10. So, as you can see, there's the visual picture, there is the algorithm, and if we're looking over here, our answer was indeed somewhere between 0 and 3/10. And if you think about it, and we're comparing, 0 is the smallest, 12 hundredths is the middle number, and 3/10 or 30 hundredths would be the largest number. So moving on, 4/10 of 1/10. And really, if you think about it, 4/10 of 1/10, 4/10 of 2/10, 4/10 of 3/10. That's also, it's, if you look at these are hundredths. So kind of it's 4/100ths of 1/10, 4/100ths of 2/10, 4/100ths of 3/10. But it's easier to kind of think about in a way that we're going to do it in a second. So, what happened to our product? Is it greater or less than our factors? And why? It is less than our factors because both of our numbers are smaller than 1. Remember, multiplying by 0 makes 0. Multiplying by 1 makes the number itself. So multiplying by a number less than 1 or more than 0 should make that number somewhere between. So let's come back to the next video and check out the other method. I'll see you in a sec.